From the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
Thrilled to have on the guy that was on the winning side of the collision between Steve Atwater and Christian Okoye. All right, Steve, let's go ahead and talk about Peyton Manning, talk about John Lynch.
Yeah.
No surprise there with Peyton, but obviously really well-deserved. In a conversation we were having the other night on the show, just really, they don't, I don't know if we'll ever see another quarterback like Peyton.
No, you're right, man. And, the thing that's always funny is, you talk to him and, he reminds you that, he led the league in interceptions as a rookie. And, I would imagine that gives a lot of quarterbacks a little bit of a false sense of security because, most of them aren't going to be Peyton Manning. Most of them aren't going to turn out as great as he did. But it still gives them hope, saying, hey, if I had a bad year, next year is going to be better. And they should think like that. But he's a one-of-a-kind guy. We all knew he was going to be a first-ballot guy. And I talked to him. I talked to Charles Woodson prior to the announcement as well, and they were both saying, no, I don't know yet. Like, man, stop. You guys know you're first ballot guys.
Is there I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this, a camaraderie? Is there, when you see other safeties get in the hall, are you like, heck yes, we got more of us here? Or are you like, is it more the other way? No, man, I don't want any more safeties in here. I'm the safety in the Hall of Fame. Which way do you tend to lean? I mean, I know you're the nice guy and you're going to say, hey, everybody in, but like, is it down deep down somewhere? Is there anything like, no, man, I'm one of the 5-6 safeties in here. I'm the guy.
No, man. Because once you're in, you're in. Man.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, how many guys are in there. John Lynch, he sent me to the text or a tweet saying that, hey, we're on the same team. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. We've been in the NFL together, but now, man, we're in a cool little group there too. So, but no, I'm happy to see all safeties, man. I saw a lot of great safeties play in my day. I see a lot of great safety play now. Yeah, I'm definitely happy for John. I'm hoping that we get some more guys in there as well, man. I'm always pulling for my man DS-49 as a safety. And there's a lot of other great safeties, too, out there, man. Man, Rodney Harrison, I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. He made it a little bit further this year, I think. Leroy Butler, he'll eventually be in there. He's the last guy who's on the 90s All-Decade team who isn't in there now. So I'm pulling for him as well. But, yeah, I'm definitely happy about Peyton and John Lynch. Now, I text John, like, man, it'll be perfect. You're right down there in Tampa. You played a good majority of your career down there, and the Super Bowl's down there, man. That would be perfect, man. And it sure came to pass, and it couldn't happen to a greater guy.
What did you think about the Super Bowl, man?
You know what? It was really a great game, a great defensive game, especially by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can't see they couldn't get anything going, and I've seen this play out, and I was telling people who I was watching the game with here that it kind of reminded me of when we were in the Super Bowl our first year against the Green Bay Packers. Nobody gave us a chance. And I was like, man, that's the same way that they have it down there. Nobody's giving the greatest quarterback to play this game, outside of my quarterback, John Elway, the greatest quarterback to play the game, nobody's giving him credit. How can you do that? How can you just act like he's not on the field? Ryan, you say it all the time. The most important position on the field is the quarterback. And you got the greatest one out there.
Before we let you go, you did a film breakdown. Which one do you want to go to first? Afitu Melifonwu out of Syracuse or Levi Uzurike? Who did you end up breaking down? What did you learn for us?
I think I both of them, man. I like both of them, man. His name is Ife Melifonwu, Syracuse, 6'3", 200. Dude can play corner, and he can play safety. I like him, man. He's got good ball skills. He's physical. He talks a little bit of noise. Got adequate speed. I'm not sure what his 40 time is, but yeah, I like his play, man. He's got got some heart. I can tell he's got some heart, and he's going at it all the time. I love it. And you got Levi Onwuzurike. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man, yeah, he's another one, man. He's strong, and he moves like a linebacker, man. He doesn't look like he's 280, 290 pounds. He moves really well. He's got a slim kind of lower body, and he can move, man. He's a heck of a pass rusher too.
Oh, he absolutely is. Yeah, I was a big fan. He's more of a 3-tech. They played him a lot at nose in Washington, but I think at the pro level he's more of a 3-tech. But man, he's so disruptive and he's so fast. Like as soon as that first step, and then he just kind of he's like a Tasmanian devil. Like he gets to the line and he just takes multiple guys with him as he's running back towards the quarterback or stopping the run. And I don't know. I just as soon as I watched him, I'm like, oh damn, oh damn, he took 2 of them. Oh.
If we get him on, we need to get him on the show so I can hear him do a Tasmanian devil impression.
Yeah, and he does a great job of using his hands to get the offensive linemen. The offensive linemen, they're always trying to hold, man.
Oh, yeah.
And he's slapping those hands down, and, they have nothing. And he's just running unfettered to the quarterback, man. So, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed checking them out.
The 2 guys you just did, Melifonwu and Onwuzurike, are both, round 2 guys. They're both going to go round 2. So if you're the Broncos and you already took a DB, then if you want to go D-line, then that would be a direction you go. And I don't know. There's going to be a lot of fun. I'll text you a couple more. Dude, this was so much fun as always, Steve. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, man, appreciate you guys. Hey, y'all keep up the great work, and we'll talk next week.
All right, sounds good. The great Steve Atwater. Coming up next on Broncos Country Tonight, we go over some of the free agents the Broncos could target, especially at edge rusher. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
Right now, I'd actually like to talk about free agency. When I brought up Patrick Peterson, you kind of didn't shoot that down. And I guess maybe I'm just sort of accustomed to you shooting down every single option I always bring up in free agency. Oh, this guy's available. The Broncos should go after him. And you're like, Ryan, stop it. Stop. Just stop. But when I brought Patrick Peterson, and I guess I just had already I'm bringing it up because it was news today, whatever. And you were like, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more.
About Patrick Peterson making sense?
About why. Well, first of all, Patrick Peterson, but in general, then there's not going to be a lot of cornerbacks available in free agency. And let's say the Broncos decide to move on from A.J. Bouye.
Which I believe, we believe will happen. We're not 100% on that, but 95.
You'd probably want to still bring in a vet corner and draft 1 or 2 defensive backs.
Yeah.
You're probably looking to do that anyways, no matter what. But you probably don't want to just go completely young in the defensive backfield. I mean, because again, Bryce Callahan would be the most vet guy besides your safeties, and he can't stay on the field for an entire season.
He's good for half a season. He's great when he's on the field, but how often is he on the field? And so, with Callahan, you get that problem. You do the young guys, and the problem with the young guys is it's great to have experienced safeties over the top to be able to help them out, but it makes them look worse when they're having to cover up the mistakes that those young guys are making. And I think Ojimodi and Bassie will be fine. I think they're probably serviceable nickel and dime corners in this league when all's said and done. I don't see them as CB1, CB2. I like the idea of Patrick Peterson here. I think he fits the system. I think he fits the scheme. He's still got a little bit left in the tank. He could be that guy, and he could be a mentor for some of those other guys coming up. I don't know at his salary that he's a fit here, but his skill set is a fit here, and I would not rule out the Broncos making a run at that, especially if they do not bring in a big-name quarterback, if they go with what we said.
Where the Broncos are sitting right now, because they have about 17 or so million available, but they can make a lot more available if they clear off some of these contracts like Terrell Casey and A.J. Bouye. And again, we don't necessarily know how George Payton's going to approach this just yet, but they don't have any dead cap hit. And they didn't play, J.J. Bouye played in and out of the whole season, then got suspended, and then with Terrell Casey barely played for the year. So, it just seems like the investment, you didn't get what you wanted necessarily out of it, and it's very easy to move on. You only trade a 7th rounder for Terrell Casey. So, the
investment was null. You got what you wanted out of it. You didn't overspend. There's no dead cap. It were smart moves that didn't pan out.
ESPN did their top 50 NFL free agents, and they actually did best team fit for those free agents. Well, there were 3 players that they matched to the Broncos.
Okay.
One being the very obvious one, that is Justin Simmons, number 9 on this list.
Okay. And that's,
Made all the sense in the world.
I believe they're going to get that done.
He's a great fit for the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And they even point out, you're talking about, Walter Peyton, Man of the Year, twice. Mm-hmm. This is just one you have to get done.
Yes.
So Justin Simmons was the fit. The other 2 guys were not Broncos before. One of them had a massive breakout season, 12.5 sacks this last year for Arizona. Hassan Reddick. They said that, and he's number 24 on this list, but it would be under the perspective of the Broncos moving on from Von Miller.
Right. And I don't think that he's actually a fit here.
He's a 3-4. I mean,
he is, but he's not a fit for what they do because the outside linebackers in this scheme have to be powerful enough to contain the run. Reddick isn't really that guy. He's not a power guy like a Tachu or Chubb. And you have to be, if you're not, you're on the other side, you got to be able to go away from the ball.
Well, but he's had some. That's the thing is, like, he's had some versatility. I think he did better because he had a little bit more defined role.
That's the same. Vance said go downhill and go get the quarterback, right. And that's why he had those numbers. He won't have those numbers in this scheme. And I don't know that maybe if the price were right, I don't think you're going to get him at the right price because he's going to be banking on those 12.5 sacks and carrying that price tag, and he's not that guy in this scheme.
Well, that was my next question.
He's the cleanup guy. He's Malik Reed.
Do you think he's that guy, 12.5 sacks?
I don't. I don't think he's that guy.
Because it's always a weird thing when you got 4 years on a guy, and he played all 16 games, all 4 years. So he has a level of consistency. Mm-hmm. But he only had double-digit sacks one last year.
Right, and his pass rush win rate wasn't all that great. I think he beat up on somebody for 4 of those sacks in one game, if I remember correctly, like the Jets.
I think that's right.
And so, he's not, like, the number is a little bit of an illusion. So I would be less apt to peg him to the Broncos. To be honest with you, he probably will wind up with the same type of production as Malik Reed, and Malik you have on a significantly cheaper salary.
The premier guys at edge, Yannick Ngakoue and Bud Dupree are going to be the most sought-after kinds of guys. And honestly, some of these guys might not be available. I think Bud Dupree actually does become available because the Steelers are probably looking at things as though, well, we have some other guys that we need to pay, and we have some big decisions to make, and Bud Dupree, as special as he is, they already have their premier pass rusher in T.J. Watt. Mm-hmm. So I think Bud Dupree probably ends up leaving, especially after he just got hurt. I think Bud Dupree leaves in free agency. Yannick Ngakoue is another guy. I think the Ravens have a tough decision between Ngakoue and Matthew Judon. Mm-hmm. So what are they going to decide to do there?
Both those are great questions. Both those guys would be excellent fits here. Specifically, Matt Judon would be a great fit here. Mm-hmm.
I knew you'd like him.
That said, the Broncos are not going to pay what it would cost to do that. And that's part of the reason you have a Malik Reed right now. That's a cost-controlled option. It's part of the reason Shaq Barrett wasn't here. You don't want to tie up double-edge rusher money because you're going to have to pay Bradley Chubb.
That's a great point because you're already positioned to be probably paying premium money to your top 2 safeties. Right. You're going to probably have the most expensive safety tandem once you pay Justin, just because you're likely going to keep Kareem on at least this last year, no matter what.
Right. You will. Okay. So here's how this works. You're going to have Justin come back on a long-term deal, so you're going to be paying there. You got Kareem back on that deal, but that'll be the last year of that deal, right? Then you got to pay Bradley Chubb. So that's where the Robin Peter to pay Paul comes in. You need to draft a safety to take over for Kareem because you're going to have to take that money and allocate it to Bradley Chubb next year. Right. And then you turn around and look at the other side of that. You can't tie up 2 edge rusher money. Premium edge rusher money is quarterback money, is light quarterback money.
Of course.
So you can't do that. And the quarterback situation. So the Broncos, that's the other reason they really, really want Drew Lock to pan out, is because in order to pay all these other people that you're going to have to pay, Bradley Chubb next year, Cortland Sutton's coming up. You look around at all the things. Kareem's money will come off the books, but you're just going to pay Justin Simmons. Are you going to pay Alexander Johnson? He's going to be due money after this season. And you can go on down the line. Are you paying Shelby Harris this year? You just paid Garrett Bowles. You got to figure out the right tackle situation long term.
On the text line from Rajiv, when can we expect a decision on Von Miller?
Sooner than later. Once the Justin deal gets done, you'll be. That's kind of where that's at. That's the priority. You'll see Justin and Shelby if they both get done. You'll see, I believe, the Broncos have approached Von about, hey, this is where we want to be. This is what we need, with an extension, pay cut kind of deal. I would say the month of March. You should know something by the month of March.
Coming up next on Broncos Country Tonight, we're going to talk about Jerry Jeudy's drops from this last season and why there's optimism coming into next year. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
All right, Jerry Jeudy. So this is, I wanted to get to this as Andrew Mason did a fantastic breakdown of this, talking about his drop rate and comparing it to other Alabama wide receivers, also comparing it even to the Broncos wide receivers. So Jerry Jeudy, he said he endured a higher percentage of off-target passes thrown his direction than all but one of 127 players league-wide. So the drops were part of it, but there were off-target throws.
There were.
As we know.
Yeah.
And let's see here. What else did he? I'm trying to make sure.
No, it wasn't all Drew either. Jeff Driscoll had off-target throws to him too. You know, it wasn't just Drew.
Of the 110 times Jerry Jeudy was targeted, 52 passes were caught, 12 were dropped, leaving 48 passes uncatchable, a 41.8% figure that was only exceeded by A.J. Green. So A.J. Green was the only other wide receiver in the league that had more off-target passes. Pretty wild. And again, you know what his quarterbacking was after Joe Burrow left.
Weird thing about that to me though is that Tim Patrick had the exact same quarterbacks throwing to him. Didn't drop a ball all year.
Yep. So I want to do some comparison here on just what the Broncos receivers. Cortland Sutton hit a 17.6% drop rate his first year, dropped all the way to 4.
Yeah.
Tim Patrick had 14.8 in 2018, all the way down to 0 in 2020.
Right. It tends to be 12 to 14% for opening year wide receiver 1, 2, or 3 type players, and it tends to drop to about 5%.
So let's go ahead and take a look at Alabama wide receivers, because I think this is fascinating. Julio Jones in 2011 rookie year, 11.6%.
Right about 12.
Okay. Amari Cooper is at 20% his rookie year.
Wow, that is staggeringly bad.
And Calvin Ridley was at 11.1.
About 12%, right.
Yep. All of them saw decreases in drops, significant in some. So Julio went from 11.6 to 7.7.
Right.
Amari went from 20 to 5.6.
Right around 5, right.
And then he went back up to 17.
Yeah,
but, that's Amari. And Calvin Ridley went down to 4.5. So they all saw significant. And by the way, in case you're curious, our guy, Jerry Jeudy, was at 16. Okay, so it's really high, right? 16.7 is pretty high.
Right.
But to see that as comparison, I mean, he wasn't even as bad as Amari Cooper as a rookie. And Amari Cooper went from 20% all the way down to 5.6. So again, you take a look at what Jerry Jeudy should be able to do. It should be a significant change for him. And this is a guy that he did have a few drop issues in Alabama. I mean, he did have that. It's not like you kind of knew that wasn't going to be fixed overnight. But I like to believe, watching what Cortland Sutton did, and we use that as a comparison, 17.6 down to 4. I'd like to believe that this offseason, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, this is going to be a point of focus for that wide receiver group. Because the fact is, where the Broncos currently sit right now, regardless of who the quarterback is, you're just going to need so much better production from your receivers. Drops can't be an issue. Because the thing is that if it is Drew Lock, he's going to have to be better with his on-target throws, no doubt. But when they do get there, this team continues to work on that razor's edge. If they want to take what has become smaller losses, closer losses, and start turning and flipping that coin into some close wins, like we've talked about a lot, it's gonna take a mental focus that they haven't shown so far.
Yeah. You do.
I mean, they got that on the offensive line. Like, the offensive line took some steps forward, but the receiving core showed its youth.
Right. And I mean, they're young though. That's the thing. Like, it's not like they're doing something that's not expected. I think that they just kind of hoped for a best case scenario. You had a combination of the worst case scenario happen. You brought in a new OC, new terminology, new concepts, and you didn't get OTAs or training camp to kind of work on those. And then you had a whole young offense. And we talked about this a little bit before. Because when I point out Drew Lock in a new offense, people like to throw back Justin Herbert. Well, Justin Herbert had an entire offense of veterans that had experience in the system. Drew Lock didn't have that. Drew Lock's best, Cortland Sutton, the one guy he relied on, went down. Now all of a sudden you got nothing but rookies and second-year players around you, and everybody's in the first year in that offense. So it's not an apples-to-apples comparison. I think that they'll be better this year. I think they're going to surprise people this year. And if Drew Lock gets a chance, I really think he's going to surprise people this year. I think people are going to be taken off guard. I think a lot of people are going to be frantically deleting a lot of Twitter takes. Because, you call I hate it when they do, call the guy trash, a bum, and all this kind of stuff. He's not good. If he's not playing well, he's not playing well. You don't have to throw insult in the wound.
He'll either get it or he'll be gone. I mean, at this point.
That's exactly what it is. This is the year. This is the year that, hey, all this stuff that we built, here it is. We're pushing all in on this hand. And either you're going to flop a winner, or you're going to get cleaned out. You're going to have to go back and get more chips and come back to the table. You're going to blow the whole thing up. So that's what this is. And we've been trying to tell people that, and they're out there screaming for Matt Stafford and Deshaun Watson and all these things that aren't going to happen, are not going to happen. And I'm trying to tell you, hey, don't set yourself up for disappointment. This is the plan. They're going to see if the culmination of this plan works. And either they're going to look like geniuses, or they're going to blow it up, and everybody's going to get to say they were right.